I'll be going over some skin tones and how I color them in, and hopefully it will help you in your own skin tone coloring skills. So first up, I'm breaking each skin tone down into 3 colors just to keep it simple for this tutorial. That said, skin tones are very complex and filled with diverse colors, even colors that aren't normally thought of as skin tone colors like green and blue and purples. But in an effort to keep things simplistic for the majority of my viewers, I figured 3 colors would be good for now. So first up, I have this first character right here, and the colors I'll be using are Potato Brown, which is BR2, Yellow Ochre, which is YR9, and Brun, anyways, YR10 basically. And I always start with my lightest color as my base, and I go in and I sort of try to break down the coloring of the face kind of into parts just to avoid any streaking. And so I'm just going in, and just at this point there's really nothing to it. It's just about filling in all of the skin. And you kind of want to be fast, not crazy fast because you don't want to mess up and go outside the line or anything like that, but fast enough so that one section doesn't dry too fast. And if you're new to alcohol markers and the whole being fast thing, don't worry, it will come to you as you keep practicing. And then I like to do just one more pass, kind of leaving the edges of the face undone. I don't want to go over that part again, just because when you do layer the same color, it'll give you shading automatically and make it darker. So I'm trying to use that advantage to sort of go ahead and create some simple shading for the beginning. So for instance, I'm going over the nose and I'm just coloring in the side, but I'm not going to go over top of the nose. I'm doing the other side now, going over the side, kind of leaving the bridge of the nose undone. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest. Again, I'm breaking it down into sections. So I've got her collarbones right here, and I'm just coloring in right up into the collarbones and into the neck until this portion is all covered and done. And then I'll go over it a second time just to sort of even it out because it's a little streaky. So a second layer helps with all of that. And then I go ahead and I color the lower section of her chest back and forth from the chest up to the collarbone, and again with a second layer just to smooth everything out. And then I finish up with the arms, and that's that. So then I go ahead and switch on over to my next darkest color, which is the yellow ochre, or YR9. And these alcohol markers are specifically the Ohuhu brand, as I happen to have the skin tone color pack, and I'll have a link down below in the description for those that are interested. And so right now I'm just going over my darkest parts, which I conveniently already left when I was coloring over the second layer for the previous color. So it pretty much helps with knowing where to leave my shading. In this case, I do it on the sides of the face, not going all the way to the edge because I want that to remain sort of like lit. And then I'm going in to her mouth, and I'm going to stop because I also want to make sure I blend things out when they're wet. So I picked up my previous color and I'm just going right on top of it and blending it a bit out. And then continuing on with my previous color, going down, following the shape of the face, going to the other side, following the shape of the face, going down to the chin, stopping again around here, and then I'm going to go ahead and smooth it out a bit with my previous color, which is the potato brown color, and then going back to my darker color and continuing on with my shading under the nose and around the nostrils, as that's what would be in shadow, under her bottom lip. And again, I'm going to stop and kind of just blend this out a bit, blend this out a bit on her nose, and then underneath the eyes a little, and on the other side for the other eye. On the tops of her eyes, where the eyelid folds, we'll have some shading, and around the sides of the forehead. So right here, and then blend it out a bit. And then I'm going to put some shading underneath the chin where the neck is. I'm going to go all the way up, right up into the line that I made for the chin, just like that. Maybe bring down some lines for her neck muscles. And on the other side, and again, right here and right here, over the collarbones and the other collarbone, And again, you can blend all this out if you want. And then in the chest area, I'm going to put some shading just on the cleavage area, blending it out with my previous color, and then some shading on her shoulders and blending it out again. Other shoulder. There we go. And it's all coming together. So then we have an even darker color, which is the brune. That's the chisel nib. I don't want the chisel nib. I want the brush nib. And so this, I'm going to have my potato brown on hand because the brune I'm going to be blending out as well. Same process. Over the eye where it creases, underneath the eye, under the nose, and a little bit around the face, kind of just following the very edge that I made with the previous colors. But then I'm going to blend it out on the other side, kind of just going into the other two colors. And then again on the other side, just following the edge of the other colors. And this is just how I shade with my skin tones. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to shade in this way. This is what I find most aesthetically pleasing. And then in the little dimples that she has, the inner corner of the eye, blend it out a bit. Other inner corner of the eye, and blend it out a bit as well. Just like that. On the edge, right here on the forehead, just for deep shading. And then under the chin, like before, in the collarbones, in the cleavage, and maybe in the inner corners of the arms, where the armpit is. This one, right here. And that is basically it. And of course, you can finish up the rest. So in this case, I'm going to be finishing up her lips. I've got this really nice deep red that I want to do. Going to give her some brown eyes. And sometimes I take like my Posca Paint marker in white and just very lightly brush for highlights. And I mean like super lightly, because obviously you don't want it looking like ridiculously fake. Kind of like she's got really pretty glowy makeup on. And I'm just taking the nib of this Posca and just rubbing it on the tip of her nose. Nothing dramatic, because honestly, even when you look at it like this and I just barely brushed it on, it still looks really dramatic. But I like it. I'm a big fan of dramatic, but just be pretty cautious when using stuff like this, because at any moment the paint could just come sort of gushing out and ruin the entire piece. And you don't want that happening. But of course, if it's ever too much, you can just take one of your markers and brush it over the white spots, and it'll tone down the intensity. Not me straight up forgetting to color in her ear. And with the ear, I just do a base color, and then I take my darker color and color in the inner areas just a bit darker. And I went ahead and I finished her all up, colored in her hair, the background, her shirt, and I'm going to be moving on to the next character with the cute little afro puffs. So again, I have 3 shades here. My lightest being E220 Sand, Y145 Buttercup Yellow, and YR20 Morin. So I'm starting with the sand color and just going to go ahead and put down my base. Again, working quickly to cover all the area in, but not too fast that I make mistakes. Or at least I hope I don't make mistakes. And this time I won't forget the ears because I already got them. And this one too. I'm going down, filling in the rest of her face. And then I'm going to lay down another layer because I did have a bit of streakiness and I want to make sure I get more smoothness in here. And then finishing up the rest of her body. And so base color is done. I'm going to go in with my Buttercup Yellow and just do the same sort of shading that I did for my previous character. Coloring the sides of the face without going all the way to the end, just so that she has that little bit of light that illuminates her face. And I'm going in a bit to her mouth to shade it in on either side, taking my previous base color to blend it out a bit. And then I'm going to shade underneath her bottom lip, the underside of her nose. So basically right above the nostrils and then right below the nostrils, going in a triangular shape. Underneath the eyes, in the crease of the upper eye, on both sides, inner corners of the eyes, blending it out, down into her nose, on both sides. This one I'm going to make her nose little bit more shaped. I'm going to be going down and out and putting a little bit of a shadow on the side right here. And then I kind of want her bridge to be a bit more dramatic. So I'm going to put some shading right here and going down a bit, not too much, just to kind of show a different sort of face. Not everyone has the same sort of face type. And then on the sides of her forehead, kind of going around right here. Then under her chin, just exactly like I did before. Really nothing changes, and I'm going to do the next two exactly the same. And then the shoulders, I kind of just swoop over, and then the cleavage. And the ear, can't forget that ear. I almost did, not going to lie. And then I'm going to keep my lightest color out and go to my Morin color and basically just repeat the process. Right on the corners of the eyes over here, underneath the eye, going on down, around the face, and just darkening all these same areas. And I also want to say not every marker artist colors this way, especially with skin tones. I've seen marker artists color very strictly in sections. So for instance, if this is where my darkest color is going to be, then the artist would just go over it once instead of doing their base color and then building on top of it, which is cool. I don't think it's a wrong way to do it. If anything, it's just different. I personally could never, and I've actually tried it, and I don't know, my brain cannot wrap around that idea because I'm such a blendy person that to me, I have to, just layer things in order to get all my colors to blend really well. Like I can't think of it any other way. And then this is the skin of my second character. Like before, I'm gonna finish her up, color in her lips, color in her eyes, her hair, her shirt, the background, etc. And I don't focus on this part too much for this tutorial because that's not the point of this video. Moving on to my third character, I'm going with a lighter skin tone. So we've got E090, which is eggshell white, E470, which is tea rose, and E050, which is lipstick natural. And I'm not sure what happened here. I must have, I don't even know. I must have opened a marker and it leaked a bit. I don't know. But regardless, that's not stopping me. I'm going to start with my eggshell white and do exactly like I did the others. Just coloring quickly for this base so I can avoid any unnecessary streaking that I may get. And then add a second layer to it all because I did get some streaking. And then finishing up with the rest of her body. And I'm just going to make that random drop of marker ink right here just a freckle. I mean, makes sense. And that's it. So now I've got my base and I'm going to go ahead and get this tea rose, which is a really intense kind of peachy pink color, but I really like it. And I think in combination with the natural lipstick color, which is my darkest color for the skin tone set, it'll look really, really good. Shading in the sides of the face without going all the way to the edge and making sure I go back to my previous color to blend it all out. Getting this inner corner of the eye and on the other side as well, and dragging it down to shape out the nose. And you'll probably notice that some of the features on each character is really the same, which kind of was intentional. I was basically just trying to save time by putting together just a group of 4 ladies that did have some differences, obviously different hairstyles, and some different features in the eyes, the lips, and things like that. But for the most part, I did kind of use the copy-paste feature, as my focus with this is just the skin. So I'm getting underneath the chin and doing the same with accentuating the muscles of the neck and the collarbones, shoulders, other shoulder, and then blending out a bit. And there we go. So now I've got 2 colors in. I'm going to go ahead and put in my last, which is the lipstick natural. And it really adds a lot of color to her. And I think it looks really, really nice. And so I'm just hitting the areas where her skin would be deepest in the crease of the eye folds, underneath the eye, a bit on the sides too, but making sure to blend it out a bit so that it matches well with the colors I already have. Around the face. I don't want to go too heavy kind of just want to accentuate. And once I have that accentuation, I go ahead and I blend out the upper side. Under the nose, just like the other characters. Inner corners of the eyes. I feel like this is a really big spot where there's a lot of shadow. And then blend it out on either side. Around the forehead, so right near the bangs that she has. And probably right where the hair is, like the hairline. And then blend it out a bit. Not too much, because you also want to leave some hard lines for the way shadow actually hits. So I'm going underneath the chin right now. And I'm kind of leaving it alone. I'm not blending it out too much, because like I said before, I want to leave some shadow that is strong on the collarbones, on the cleavage, and then the arms. I'm making sure to blend it out on the arms because it looks pretty strong there. So I'm just blending out the sides and this side as well. And that is it. And then I'm going to finish up the rest of her. I'm going to do some red lips. Third character is done. So I'm going to move on to my last character, which is my Elsa looking character, I guess. So we've got Pale Cherry Pink R080, Powder Pink R20, and Fruit Pink R21. So this is definitely going to be our lightest skin tone with a pink undertone, starting out with the Pale Cherry Pink, which feels pretty peachy in my opinion. And again, just covering it all in with my base color. Gonna do another layer, smooth it all out, and then finish up with the rest of the body. And again, a previous color kind of splattered on it. I'm just gonna use those weird little splatters. Well, at least this one as a freckle. This one I can do nothing about, and this one I was able to do nothing about, but it's all good. Accidents happen. It's just part of being an artist, to be honest. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get my second color, which is the Powder Pink, and just hit all those same spots around the forehead, around the outsides of the eye, sides of the face, not going to the absolute edge, going to do the other side to match, and again, side of the face, till I meet down by the chin, and basically just start sculpting everything else out. Around the nose, above the nostrils, below the nose in a triangular kind of shadow, and then around the crease of the eye, inner corners of the eye around here, bring it on down to shape that nose, just like so, and going in to blend it all out a bit. And again, under the chin, where there would be shading on her neck, and then the collarbones, and the shoulders. Easy enough. Oh, the cleavage too, of course. And then blending it on out with my previous color. And I'm going pretty quickly since I've gone over this 3 times already. So I'm hoping that by now you're all getting the gist of where I'm laying my shadows. Of course, not all shadows are like this. Depending on where your light source is, your shadows will be different. In this case, my light source is kind of almost head on, a little bit above them. But for the most part, there's nothing too dramatic as far as my lighting goes. Especially since I want to keep this sort of simplistic. I don't want to overwhelm any artist who might be new to this. Just want to give them a sort of foundation to work off of. And there we go. And that's pretty much it. I hit all the areas for shading. And that's it. So I finished up my last character. And I hope this quick skin tone tutorial helped you out. And if it did, make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and I will see you all next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.